Hi, thanks for joining me today. We're going to focus today on our breathing to help with our stability in the saddle. When we have effective breathing and we're breathing down into the bottom of the lungs, expanding the diaphragm, it helps to engage core muscles and help with our stability in the saddle. Or just for anybody who is not a rider, it just helps with your overall, for everyone, overall core stability. So we're going to start in a seated position, just working a little bit with a few different yoga breathing practices, pranayama practices, and then we'll do a few poses working on that same idea with the breath and some holding some poses and in some movement. So coming to a comfortable seated position for you, this could be cross-legged like I'm sitting. Highly suggest you sit up on something, a blanket or a firm cushion or a few folded up towels to help lift the hips a little bit to allow you to lengthen the spine, because the better spinal alignment we have, the more neutral position we have for the spine, the easier it is for us to breathe. If we're rounded and collapsed forward, it's hard to fill the lungs. So thinking of that, you can also do this first part seated in a chair or on your couch or whatever feels comfortable for you. But find that nice alignment. Think of your head being right on top of your shoulders, shoulders being right over top of the pelvis, just like we would have in the saddle if you are a rider. And again, even if you're not a rider, this neutral position for the spine, very beneficial for everyone all the time. Hands can rest comfortably on the thighs, palms up or down, whatever feels comfortable for you. But think of the sternum lifting, think of the collarbones widening, shoulders sliding down the back, and again, the head right on top of the spine. And you can close the eyes if you feel comfortable, just take a soft gaze down. But just begin to notice the rhythm of your breath. So just noticing each inhale and exhale, gently moving in and out of the nose. The breath happens without our thought, but we can also control the breath with our thought. We can breathe faster, we can breathe slower, we can breathe more deeply, we can hold the breath. So again, it happens without our thought, but it is the one system in our body that we can control with our thoughts and our actions. So just as you're noticing your breathing, begin to take a deeper breath in. And as you inhale in through the nose, think of letting the breath drop all the way down into the bottom of the lungs. And then as you exhale, draw the belly towards the spine, engaging abdominal muscles and diaphragm to help the breath release, and thinking of taking a longer breath out. So gradually begin to make your inhales a little deeper and your exhales a little longer. And as we breathe more deeply into the lungs, we are utilizing our diaphragm a little bit more effectively. Inhaling and exhaling. And then begin to expand on that deeper breath by filling the lungs from the bottom to the top as you inhale, and releasing the breath from the top of the lungs to the bottom as you exhale. So imagine that you're filling the lungs like a container from the bottom to the top with your inhale, and you're emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom as you exhale. And again, as we do that, and as we are moving through our day or we're on our horse, that keeps our core stability more in alignment than if we just breathe real quickly, or we don't control that slow exhale. So it keeps the core and the diaphragm more engaged. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to add one more technique onto this practice that we're doing, this pranayama practice, the ujjayi breath, the ocean breath. So you're going to start by taking a few breaths in and out of the mouth. Imagine that you're fogging up a mirror with your breath. So take a gentle breath in and out. You'll feel a little ha sound across the back of the throat. This is fascinating for animals in your environment, so they may come and check you out, like Coco's making sure I'm okay. But as you keep that breath moving in and out of the mouth, you can even put your hand up and imagine, feel your breath on your hand. Feeling how the breath is gently moving across the back of the throat. And then gently close the lips, but keep that same sound and that feeling. And you may find, again, that even deepens that inhale a little bit more, and it allows you to lengthen the exhale a little bit more. Again, it brings a little bit more breath and energy into your practice, into your body. Inhaling and exhaling. So as we're doing some physical activity, again, for those of you who ride, important to find that steady flow with your breath. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Ujjayi breath, that last little bit that we did, but definitely feeling that deep inhales and deep exhales. As we take that deep breath in, it lowers the center of gravity. Important when you're in the saddle. The lower your center of gravity, the more stable you will be. So again, just keep that breath practice going. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Again, see if you can feel that little movement of the breath across the back of the throat, that little hiss of the breath. That Ujjayi breath. And then very gently let the eyes open. So again, we're going to go through just a few postures, focusing on keeping that steady flow with the breath. Do whichever of those felt the most comfortable for you, or is the most easy for you to maintain. So it may just be that deeper breath into the belly, that diaphragmatic breath. It may be that 3-part breath, again, still engaging the diaphragm, but filling the lungs more bottom to top, or even that Ujjayi breath. So whatever allows you to feel a little bit more secure and comfortable in your breath and steady flow with the breath. So whatever you were seated on, just move it out of the way. Come to all fours. We'll do just a quick little warm up here. So start in table pose, wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Think of the lowest ribs drawing towards the hips, so we're not letting the body collapse down. We're going to do some movement here, but initially finding that nice foundation. Press into the tops of the feet, press into the fingertips, the base of the knuckles. Again, find that breath. Inhale and exhale. A little bit different relationship to gravity now than when we were seated. Inhaling and exhale. And then as you take your next inhale, think of letting the belly drop down, let the pelvis tip forward, lift the heart and the sternum, take the gaze gently up. So we'll find a nice stretch in our cow pose. And then exhale, pressing into the hands and the feet, round the spine up towards the ceiling. Let the crown of the head release down. And then once again, inhale, sending those sit bones back as the pelvis tips forward, belly dropping down, lifting out of the front of the body. And exhale and rounding the spine. So do that 2 more times. Inhaling and exhale. Once more, inhale and exhale. After this exhale, come back to that neutral table pose once again. And then extend your right leg out, toes to the mat, press through the heel. And then inhale, lift the right leg to hip height. Keep those toes pointing down. Inhale and exhale. Keep that steady flow with your breath. So you may feel those core abdominal muscles engaging as you're breathing. Option here, you can either keep the hand where it is or extend that arm forward, thumb facing up, pinky pointing down. Again, make sure you're breathing. Inhale and exhale. And then release the left hand down, the right leg down, and then extend the left leg back, press through the heel. Again, make sure you're breathing, find that steady flow with your breath. And then inhale, lift the left leg up. Again, keep those toes pointing down. Option again to extend that right arm forward. And again, if you start to do that, if you lift that arm forward and you find that you're not breathing, then you want to bring that hand back down and reestablish that breath practice. Inhaling and exhaling. That's the same thing we want to do in the saddle. You know, if we ask our horse to do something or we go over a jump, then we have to say, am I still breathing? You know, checking in to make sure you're still breathing. Inhale and exhale, and then bring the right hand down and the right hand and left leg down. And then we're going to alternate, again, thinking of establishing this core. I'm going to move forward a little bit so I'm out of the way of my furniture back there. So we're going to inhale, lift the right leg and the left arm, and then exhale and release it down. So we're going to keep this core nice and still. And then inhale, extend the right arm and the left leg, and then exhale, bring it back down. So keep that going with the breath, alternating. Inhale, lifting, and exhale and lowering, and inhale and lifting, and exhale and lower. A couple more times. Inhale, lifting right leg, left arm, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift left leg, right arm, exhale, lower. Let's do one more time each side. Inhale, lifting, and exhale, lower, and inhale, lifting, and exhale, lower. Now bring your hands a little in front of the shoulders, press into the fingertips, base of the knuckles, curl the toes under, lift the knees, send your sit bones up and back, find a nice long stretch in downward facing dog. So you can keep your knees bent here a little bit, make sure you're pressing again into the fingertips, crown of the head reaching towards the hands, sit bones reaching up. You can pedal the feet a little bit here, but make sure you're breathing. Think of that steady flow. Again, that diaphragmatic breath into the belly, or that 3-part breath, or that ujjayi breath. And then very gently bring the knees back down to the mat and curl the toes. Bring your hands back under the shoulders, and let's extend that right leg back once again. Press through the heel. So this time for plank pose, bring the left leg back beside the right. Think again, we're drawing that lower belly up to meet the back of the spine. You can bring the knees back down to the mat if you need a little bit more support here. Inhale and exhale. Again, find that breath. Inhaling and exhaling, create that core stability, and then working a little bit that transverse abdominis muscle that helps us when we're riding, that muscle just below the belly button that wraps around our core. So tap the knees down and lift the knees back up, and tap the knees down and lift the knees back up. So keep that going with the breath. Now, if you had the knees down, think of lifting one knee up and lower it down, and lift the other knee up and lower it down. Keep that core engaged. Inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling, exhale, tap down, inhale, lift up, exhale, tap down, and then this time with the knees down and curl the toes, fold back to a child pose. Take a breath or 2 here. Let the forehead release down. Inhale and exhale. And then pressing into the hands, come back up to your table pose. So we're going to do one last little sequence. Again, keeping that focus on the breath, this time adding a little bit for our glute med muscle and a little bit for the shoulders. So we're going to come back to that extension of the leg and the opposite arm. So extend the right leg back once again. Lift the right leg. Extend the left arm forward. Again, come a little bit forward here. Now, as we exhale, we're going to bend the left elbow out to the side. We're going to bend the right knee out to the side. And then we're going to extend and come back to center. Exhale, elbow and knee out to the side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, elbow and knee out to the side. Inhale, back to center. 2 more times on this side. Exhale and inhale and exhale and inhale. Now release the left hand, the right leg. Take a break in either child pose or downward facing dog before we do the second side. Inhaling and exhaling, nice stretch for the hips and the shoulders, either one. Inhale and exhale. Now come back down to the mat. Reestablish that table pose. Again, important that the wrists are under the shoulders and the knees are under the hips. Extend the left leg back. Lift the left leg hip height. Extend the right arm forward. So now we're going to bend the left elbow out to the side, that right knee out to the side, and then inhale, extend back forward. Exhale, bending, and inhale, extending. Exhale, bend, and inhale, extend. And exhale, bend, and inhale, extend. Good, one more time. Exhale, good, and inhale. Now release the left hand, the right leg, and again, your option, downward facing dog, sit bones up and back, or folding back into child pose. Forehead releasing down, or you can stack your hands up and let your head rest on your hands, or even use a stack of books or your blanket that you were sitting on to let the forehead release. Inhale and exhale. And then everyone come down to that child pose. So if you were in downward facing dog, go ahead and settle back to a child pose for another big breath. Inhale. Breathing into the back of the body. Exhale. Let the breath release. And then gently slide the hands back towards you. Inhale. Come all the way up to a seated position. You can sit on your heels or cross-legged once again. But just pause for a moment, close the eyes, take that focus inward once again, just reconnect with your breath. And notice after a little movement with the breath, does your breath feel a little deeper? We're working to engage those core muscles with our breath, so notice how you feel. And then as you're ready, let the eyes gently open. So thank you for joining me today. Again, an excellent practice for strength and stability in the saddle, or again, with whatever that you happen to do. The better we breathe, the more efficiently we breathe, the deeper into the bottom of the lungs, engaging the diaphragm we breathe, then that creates more stability in the core for proper alignment, supporting proper alignment of the spine. And again, for those of you who ride, that deeper breathing lowers our center of gravity in the saddle, so it helps to keep us more secure. Thanks so much for joining me today. Please check out the information section below about classes I teach and Grey Horse Yoga. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you sometime soon in the saddle or on the mat. Thanks. Bye-bye.